Hello! We're excited to show you our native speech capabilities, where you can direct a voice, create realistic dialogue, and so much more. Edit these placeholders to get started. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Leo English Channel. This is your host, Leo Darren. Today we are going to have a very interesting conversation about daily routines. Many students tell me that they want to speak about their daily life, but sometimes they don't know the correct words or they only use very short sentences. So today, we are going to make longer sentences, still easy to understand, but a little bit longer so you can learn how to connect your ideas. And of course, I am not alone. I am here with my student Michael. Hello, Michael. How are you today?
Hello, Leo. I am feeling very good today. Thank you for asking. I woke up this morning with a lot of positive energy, and I was really excited because I knew that we would record another podcast together. I think it is a great chance for me to practice English, and I am happy because I can share my daily routine with you and with the people who listen to your channel.
That is wonderful, Michael. I am very happy to hear that you are excited and ready to speak. So let's begin. The topic today is daily routine. Maybe I will ask you questions and you will answer with longer sentences, not only short answers. After that, I will also share my own daily routine so that the listeners can compare and also learn new words. So let's start from the beginning of the day. Can you tell me what you usually do when you wake up in the morning?
Yes, of course. Usually, I wake up at around 7 o'clock in the morning, sometimes a little earlier if I have many things to do, and sometimes a little later if I went to bed very late the night before. When I wake up, the first thing I usually do is stretch my arms and legs because I feel a little stiff after sleeping. After that, I sit on my bed for a short moment, and I try to think about my plan for the day. I always like to take a few deep breaths because it helps me to feel calm and ready to start my activities. Then I go to the bathroom to wash my face with cold water, which makes me feel fresh and more awake.
Very good, Michael. I like how you explained everything step by step. You used nice, clear sentences, and they are longer than before. Now, after you wash your face, what is the next step in your routine? Do you eat breakfast immediately, or do you do something else first?
Usually, I brush my teeth right after I wash my face because I think it is very important to start the day with a clean mouth and fresh breath. After brushing my teeth, I sometimes drink a glass of water because I know that after sleeping many hours, my body needs water. Then I go to the kitchen and I prepare my breakfast. My breakfast is usually very simple, but I try to make it healthy. For example, sometimes I eat bread with cheese and an egg, and I drink a cup of tea or sometimes coffee if I feel a little sleepy. On other days, I like to eat some fruit, like a banana or an apple, because it's quick and easy. Breakfast is very important for me because it gives me energy to start my day, and without it, I feel weak.
That is great, Michael. You know, many students forget to add details when they talk, but you added details like bread with cheese and an egg, banana or apple, and a glass of water. This is exactly what we need in order to make our speaking longer and more natural. So after breakfast, what do you usually do?
Well, after I finish my breakfast, I usually take a short time to check my phone. I look at the messages from my friends or family, and sometimes I check social media, but I try not to waste too much time. Then, if it is a weekday, I usually prepare for my classes or for work. I check my bag, I make sure that I have all the things I need, like my notebook, my pen, and sometimes my laptop. If I have to go outside, I put on my clothes, usually something comfortable, and then I leave the house. If it is not a weekday, for example on Saturday or Sunday, I usually stay at home a little longer and I relax, maybe watch a short video or read something interesting.
Perfect. I really like how you explain the difference between weekdays and weekends. That is a very good point. Now, let me also share my own routine in the morning so our listeners can compare. When I wake up, I usually get out of bed quickly because if I stay in bed too long, I feel lazy. I immediately go to the bathroom, wash my face, and brush my teeth. After that, I always drink one big glass of water because I believe it is healthy. Then I prepare my coffee because I really like the smell of fresh coffee in the morning. While drinking coffee, I usually read some news in English because I think it is a good way to learn new vocabulary and also to know what is happening in the world. After that, I take some time to plan my lessons for my students, and then I start working.
Wow, Leo, I think your morning is very productive. I like the idea of reading the news while drinking coffee because you can learn and enjoy at the same time. Maybe I will also try that in my daily routine.
Yes, Michael, I think it would be great for you. Now, let's continue. After the morning routine, usually people start their main activities like work, study, or exercise. What do you usually do after breakfast and preparing your things? All right, Michael. In the first part of our conversation, you explained very clearly what you usually do in the morning, from waking up until breakfast and preparing for the day. That was very nice and helpful. Now let's continue with the next part of your routine. Can you tell me what you normally do after breakfast, when your day really begins?
Yes, of course, Leo. After I finish my breakfast and check my phone for a short while, I usually get ready for my classes. Because I am still a student, most of my mornings are spent either attending classes or preparing my homework. I usually leave my house at around 8:30 or sometimes a little later, depending on my schedule. When I walk to my classes, I often listen to music in my headphones because it makes me feel relaxed and also gives me some motivation for the day. If I do not feel like listening to music, I sometimes listen to short English podcasts because I know it helps me improve my listening skills and learn new words in context.
That is very good, Michael. Listening to English podcasts while walking is a smart choice because you use your time effectively. So tell me, when you arrive at your classes, what do you usually do?
When I arrive, I usually greet my classmates and my teachers. I try to be polite and friendly because I believe it creates a good atmosphere in the classroom. During the lesson, I usually take notes very carefully because I know that if I write down the main points, it will be easier for me to review them later. Sometimes, when the teacher asks a question, I try to answer, even if I'm not completely sure. I think speaking in class is a good way to become more confident. I usually stay in class until around noon, and then I go back home.
I think it is great for our listeners because they can hear how you describe your daily routine in longer sentences. Now, let me also share what I usually do. I prepare my lessons for the students I teach online. I open my laptop, check my notes, and sometimes create new materials. After that, I usually start teaching online classes. I really enjoy meeting students from different countries because each student has a different story and it makes my work interesting.
That sounds really nice, Leo. I think teaching online must be exciting because you can talk to people from many places around the world, and also you can organize your time more freely. I hope one day I will also have such flexibility in my daily routine.
Yes, flexibility is good, but it also requires discipline because when you work from home, it is easy to become lazy. You have to manage your time carefully. Now, let's go back to your day. You said you usually return home around noon. What happens then? Do you have lunch immediately, or do you do something else first?
When I come back home from my classes, I usually feel a little tired, but I also feel hungry. So the first thing I usually do is prepare my lunch. My lunch is sometimes cooked by my family, but if nobody is at home, I prepare something simple for myself. For example, I might cook some rice with vegetables, or maybe I make a sandwich with chicken and salad. I usually drink water with my lunch because I think it is healthier than drinking soda. After I finish my lunch, I like to rest a little. Sometimes I lie on my bed and close my eyes for 10 or 15 minutes, but I try not to sleep too long because if I sleep too much during the day, I cannot sleep well at night.
That is a very wise choice, Michael. Many people take a long nap in the afternoon and then they have problems sleeping at night. A short rest is much better. Now, when you are finished with your lunch and your short rest, what do you usually do in the afternoon?
In the afternoon, I usually spend some time doing my homework or reviewing the lessons from the morning. I know it is important to review quickly because if I wait too long, I will forget many details. I usually sit at my desk, open my notebook, and try to complete my assignments. Sometimes I also use my laptop to search for information or to practice with online exercises. If I finish my homework early, I sometimes do something I enjoy, like reading a book in English or playing a video game. But I always try to finish my important tasks before I relax, because I do not want to feel guilty later.
That is a very responsible way to organize your day, Michael. You finish your responsibilities first, and then you allow yourself to relax. That is something I think many listeners should also learn. Now, let me tell you what I usually do in the afternoon. After teaching my morning classes, I usually take a break for lunch as well. My lunch is often light, like a salad with chicken or fish, because I do not want to feel heavy and sleepy after eating. Then, in the afternoon, I usually have more classes, or I work on creating videos for my YouTube channel. Sometimes I spend time editing the videos, which takes longer than people imagine. But I enjoy it because it helps students around the world.
I see, Leo. That explains why your videos always look professional. I think editing requires patience because it can be very detailed work. But I agree, the result is really helpful for students like me.
Thank you, Michael. I appreciate that. Now, let's continue. We have talked about morning, lunchtime, and afternoon activities. I think our listeners are getting a very complete picture of daily routines. Before we end this part, let's talk a little about how you usually feel during the afternoon. Are you usually energetic, or do you sometimes feel tired?
That is an interesting question, Leo. To be honest, sometimes I feel very energetic, especially if I had a good night's sleep and ate healthy food during the day. In those cases, I can study or work with good concentration. But on some days, if I did not sleep well or if I ate heavy food, I feel a little sleepy in the afternoon. When that happens, I usually drink a cup of tea or coffee, or I stand up and take a short walk around the house to wake myself up. I think it is normal to feel a little tired, but I try not to let it stop me from doing what I need to do.
Excellent answer, Michael. You not only explained what happens, but also how you deal with it. That is very useful for our listeners. I think this is a good place to pause for today because we have already talked about many parts of the daily routine: waking up, breakfast, morning activities, lunch, and afternoon tasks. In the next part, we will continue with evening routines, relaxation, hobbies, and preparing for bed.
Yes, I am looking forward to that because the evening is usually my favorite part of the day, when I can do the things I enjoy the most.
Great. So, to all our listeners, thank you for staying with us until the end of this part. Remember, if you want to practice, try to describe your own daily routine in English, step by step, with longer sentences just like Michael did today. And we will see you in the next episode of Leo English Channel.
Bye, everyone, and thank you for listening.